is
champion.
Yeah, undisputed champion. Nigga, I was saying I need to get money. I need to get out of my situation. That's another thing why I say like once I get to, while I'm at this level, like it's no point, like it's no more point to prove to myself.
Swindle around and fight Jake Paul for this money. If you think I'm going to sit back by the wayside and sit there and be like, well, even though I'm contracted to fight this guy for this amount of money on this certain day, I'm just gonna sit here and be cool with, oh, he might not ever fight me, and he's gonna go fight and get paid and get this money, and I'm not supposed to get anything.
Gervonta Davis has finally revealed why he chose to fight Jake instead of a rematch with Roach. However, things seem to be escalating now that Lamont Roach is considering taking legal action against Davis for breach of contract. Speaking in a recent interview, Tank said that even if he fought Roach again, fans would have still criticized him. So now he's doing what is in his best interest, getting the money.
Nah, Tank is a money fighter. Who's the bigger money fight for Tank? I don't think that's Shakur.
Who else would you think? Jake Paul?
Yeah, for sure, but I'm not even talking about fake boxing. Like, for sure, he gonna do that if that's...
As you may have noticed, Tank seems disconnected from the sport itself ahead of his fight with Jake. But in his recent revelation, it seems that he disconnected right after the draw with Roach. In his own words, it's just, I don't want to put a lot out there. It's doing what's best for me and what's right for me. I've been doing this for a little minute now. I've been doing it since I was 7 years old, so this is the first camp I can enjoy myself and be back myself, Davis said at Monday's press conference. He added, even leading up to the rematch of the Roach fight, it was more so like I don't want to get too much in it.
I don't want to put a lot out there, but it's just, doing what's best for me and what's right for me, and I've been doing this for a little minute now. I've been doing it for...
That answer has definitely not landed well. To many, it sounds evasive, like a man trying to avoid reopening a door he'd already slammed shut. Lamont Roach wasted no time roasting him for it. He posted a picture of Lisa Simpson crying red-eyed with the caption, "Every time he got to explain why he's fighting Jake, it was sharp, funny, and cutting in the way boxing rivalries often are."
Boxing. Pound for pound title. And me, on the other hand, coming up from 130 to 135 to fight this monster. That's gonna make me a 2-division world champ. That's gonna make me 2-time world champ. And that's gonna put me in.
But the humor didn't hide Roach's frustration. He's still bitter that the rematch he expected, the one most fans thought was next, vanished the moment Davis agreed to fight Jake Paul. When the fight news broke weeks earlier, Roach had fired off another jab online, "Told you all duck duck," with 4 duck emojis for good measure.
Like, just handle the business right. That's all. Just handle the business right. Don't think you're gonna do bad business with me and think it's just gonna be okay. No, we're gonna call you out every single time. Don't duck a fight with me and fight a YouTuber that's 200 pounds and think it's okay. It's not okay. I don't care what, unless you took the proper.
But it seems that Tank's decision to skip his rematch with Lamont Roach and face Jake Paul instead has taken another turn, this time on the business side. Lamont Roach has now addressed whether he plans to pursue legal action against Davis for what many saw as a breach of their rematch agreement. In an interview on Inside the Ring, Roach made it clear he wasn't taking Tank to arbitration despite having that option. "I never said this publicly, but no, we aren't going to go to arbitration," Roach admitted. "Because I'm very well taken care of, I'm going to say that." He didn't elaborate on what exactly taken care of meant, but his tone said enough someone had already made it right financially.
Go to arbitration, then what? Then you gotta pay lawyer fees, or you put your promotional company in a hole where they have to back you because technically it's on them. They're the ones who putting on the fight. That's who I have the contract. That's who draws up the agreement, the contracts, or whatever the case may be. So, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's crazy for you to do business-wise.
Roach went on to publicly thank Al Heyman, PBC, and the team around Davis for stepping in. "I publicly want to say thank you to Al Heyman, PBC, and everyone who made things right on his behalf. Even though he messed up on his behalf, they made things right on my end. That statement essentially confirmed that PBC reached a private settlement with Roach compensation in exchange for keeping the dispute out of court. And for a fighter who'd been campaigning hard for that rematch, it was a quiet, businesslike way to close the matter. It also revealed something about how boxing politics work behind the scenes. When a star like Davis pivots to a money fight, the machine around him makes sure loose ends are tied.
It don't look like that's gonna happen. For everybody that keep asking me, everybody be on every single boxing page, boxing source, you hearing it from the horse's mouth, it might not happen, or most likely not gonna happen for sure. But I think he dodging that. Dodging God's plan. You know the dude reach out. If you want to fight or you don't, simple. That's it.
For Gervonta, this is personal in a different way. He has admitted that his motivation is running thin. He's fought since childhood, built a record, made headlines, and now he's leaning toward financial comfort over boxing legacy. And from his perspective, he's done enough to deserve that right. The fight with Jake is his chance to cash in, stay healthy, and walk away on his terms. But in doing so, he's cracked open a larger conversation about where boxing stands when its stars start chasing the biggest check instead of the toughest challenge.
Tank Davis weren't friends. Him and Tank Davis weren't cool. They didn't really know each other like that. They were just cordial. This is a different cry from what he said about Tank Davis leading up to his first fight with Tank Davis. And I believe this because he realized how out of pocket he has been. He realized that, well, let me make it seem like it's not as out of pocket to shit on him after he gave me an opportunity.
Among active fighters, few were as honest about that tension as Shakur Stevenson. Shakur admitted that he understands why Tank would make the move but added he wouldn't have done it himself. According to Shakur, Tank almost came near a loss with Lamont Roach, and if he did take the rematch and lost, then his value would have gone lower. Therefore, by taking the fight with Jake Paul before the possible loss, it most likely will sell just a lot more.
And you blame a man for taking that opportunity because this is prize fighting, right? It's about making money and securing your family. Can you fault him for that?
It's two sides of that. Like,
okay.
It just depends. Like, as a fighter, just because I had a draw with somebody, for me, I may run it back. But in a business aspect, if you run it back and you lose to Lamont.
Then there's Terrence Crawford, who didn't mince words. Crawford said straight up that Jake Paul's size makes this a dangerous matchup for Davis. Jake's way too big for Tank, Crawford said. Coming from one of boxing's most respected technicians, that warning hits differently. He's not mocking the fight or questioning Tank's heart, he's pointing out physics. Paul's larger frame, natural weight, and reach could easily turn this from a show into a genuine risk. In Crawford's view, this isn't a soft option at all. If anything, it's a strange kind of gamble, less about proving skill and more about surviving a mismatch. Still, not everyone in the sport is against Davis's decision.
What's your instant reaction to that?
I don't know what's going to happen with a 135-pounder going up against a 200-pounder. I think it's not a real fight. Jake just too big. Tank ain't gonna be able to get in from that jab. Jake land one good punch on Tank.
Crawford and Romero defended him, saying people need to stop acting like fighters shouldn't get paid. You can't blame Tank. He's got a family to feed, Romero said. It's a simple argument, but it matches with anyone who's spent years watching boxers come and go broke after long, punishing careers. Romero's point is that nobody else takes the punches, so nobody else should judge how a fighter secures his final bag.
Bro, you can't be mad at somebody for doing what they feel is best for them.
Will it impact Tank's legacy if Jake Paul were like to beat him or even like knock him out?
Dude, Tank's a 3-division world champion, 4-time 3-division world champion. At the end of it, bro, you can't take it.
Davis's own team sees it the same way. His longtime trainer, Calvin Ford, framed the Jake Paul fight as a business choice, not a betrayal of the sport. Ford has said the camp negotiated the fight carefully, glove size, weight, all of it, to make sure Tank's safety and leverage come first. In their eyes, this is no different from any other professional making a financially smart decision before retirement. This is a business decision, Ford said. That line has been echoed again and again from Davis's side. It's not about Roach anymore. It's about making the most of a limited window before stepping away.
My only concern is, you know, the gloves. You understand what I'm saying? Because we don't fight in 12-ounce gloves. We don't use 12-ounce gloves. That's training gloves, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, that's 2 pounds away from Jake. He fights in 10s.
Meanwhile, Roach has hinted that this story isn't done. He's frustrated enough to talk about possible legal options if any agreements were in place for a rematch that got ignored. For now, it's all noise and no action, but the tone in his interviews is clear that he feels sidelined by the politics of money. What bothers him most isn't just losing the opportunity, but how quickly it disappeared once a bigger check came into the picture. He's treating it like a professional snub that undercuts everything fighters are supposed to believe in: merit, ranking, and fairness.
Jake Paul brings something to media and to boxing. You cannot miss a fight. I like it, Jake. I like the drama it's bringing, I'll be honest.
But nobody really cares about this fight.
Yeah, are you gonna watch it?
Yeah, of course. That's how it's gonna go. Nobody really cares, but everybody's gonna watch it. Like,
he said, nobody cares about.
Even Eddie Hearn, speaking from a promoter's point of view, admitted that while fans might hate it, the math makes sense. You can't blame Gervonta, he said. Look at it this way, there's $5 to $7 million for Roach and $30 million for an exhibition with Jake Paul. I don't think we should judge. It's blunt, but realistic. Hearn's view reflects a broader truth. The economics of boxing have shifted. Prize fighting has always been about prizes first, but social era matchups like this one turn legacy fights into luxury fights. Tank's decision is a symptom of that change.
It's kind of weird, because Jake Paul is extremely bigger than Tank. And I mean, but with it being a exhibition, it makes sense. It's fine.
And yet, for all the talk of money, there's still an air of uncertainty around it. The rules are flexible, the gloves are bigger, and the fight might not even count toward official records. It's spectacle over structure, a show wrapped around what used to be a sport. Tank seems fine with that trade-off. He's not chasing validation anymore, just the payoff. Whether fans or critics agree, he's made peace with it. He's stepping into the ring against a man twice his size, not for belts or rankings, but for one last headline and one last payday.
Gio's World, facts. That's why Tank wants to fight Jake Paul. I'm telling you, he want to fight Jake Paul because he know if he climb in the ring with Shakur Stevenson, he's going to get zapated.
Still, for many fighters and analysts, this entire saga shows the ongoing shift in boxing where financial leverage often outweighs tradition or merit. Teofimo Lopez offered his own perspective on the situation. Speaking to Knockout Artists Sports, Lopez didn't seem bothered by Davis's decision to take the Jake Paul fight, nor did he think it would taint his resume. Tank versus Jake, less than a month away. May the best man lose, Lopez joked. Not at all. No, it doesn't impact his legacy. It'll just impact his bank account. Lopez's take was honest. In his view, Davis had already proven his worth inside the ring. And if he now chose a money fight over a traditional one, that was simply part of the evolution of a superstar boxer's career. Fighters don't fight forever, and a big payday is a logical move near the end.
I think of Jake Paul, Gervonta Davis. I know on Instagram you call it a circus.
Yeah, this boxing is slowly turning into the WWE. That's what I think.
Does Tank Davis have a chance?
Yes, but
yeah?
I don't even want to talk about it. Don't ask me questions like that again.
That ties directly into Davis's own statements earlier this year. The 30-year-old had already mentioned plans to retire before the end of 2025. His language in interviews has been increasingly reflective, even detached. He's talked about doing this since he was a child and how this current camp is the first time he's actually enjoying himself again. For a fighter who's spent over 2 decades in the sport, that's telling. It hints at burnout, not hunger. That's what makes the Jake Paul fight so big. It's technically an exhibition, but it carries an odd weight, possibly the final major event of Davis's career.
If Jake knocks out Tank, we're crushed. If it goes all 10 and it was a sparring session, we hate it. And that's the Black Two Sugars. So the question is, can Tank knock out Jake? and this is what we're going to look at right now. First, the biggest question that I had was, can...
But while Davis's reasoning is clear, not everyone sees this matchup as harmless fun. Some critics argue that even accepting the fight damages his credibility. Others counter that the sport is changing, and Tank is just playing the modern game better than anyone else. Interestingly, the fight itself will make history not for the matchup, but for how it's being recorded. BoxRec, boxing's official record-keeping platform, has created a completely new category for it called HYB Pro, short for Hybrid Professional. This designation is meant for fights that mix exhibition-style rules with professional boxing structure. Normally, exhibitions aren't logged in BoxRec at all, but this one, due to its scale, rules, and promotional weight, forced them to rethink. The HYB Pro tag essentially acknowledges that while it won't count toward Davis's or Paul's professional records, it deserves recognition for its significance and structure.
He's a marketing genius, but when it comes to people that lose fights, I can't get my head around it. If Tank hits him clean, he's going to sleep. He'll have a lot of smoke blowing up his backside by his coaching team and people like that, but when he gets hit for real, 10 ounce, well, I'm told there's 16 ounce gloves now for like an exhibition. Right. I'm told big gloves and head guards.
The fight setup also reflects that hybrid spirit. According to ESPN's Andreas Hale, the bout will take place at a 195 pounds catch weight, far above Davis's usual 135 pounds division. It'll be 10 3-minute rounds with 12-ounce gloves, which is heavier protection than standard pro bouts but lighter than typical exhibitions. That means Davis will enter with a huge size disadvantage, a full 60 pounds lighter than what Paul has fought at in the past. But again, the bout's tone is more entertainment than competition.
Good in this. I don't know how it is. It's looked to me, David and Goliath, but David got skill and Goliath doesn't, but I don't know how it's going to work out. But if for some reason it winds up being a really fun event and it has tons and tons of millions and millions and millions of viewers, when Gervonta Davis goes back to...
And Netflix's involvement underscores that this isn't a pay-per-view fight. It's a global stream accessible to millions at a fraction of the cost. The approach mirrors how crossover events are now sold, spectacle first, sport second. For Davis, that's not a demotion, it's an expansion. Then there's the technological twist: the fight will feature an AI judge serving as the third scoring official. The system's score will be reviewed and contested by the human judges to verify the final result. It's a bizarre but headline-grabbing move, a perfect reflection of how much this event blurs the line between serious competition and showbiz.
I don't want to beat up somebody that small. I don't want to, you know what I'm saying?
What do you think of the fight?
I don't want to lose to somebody that. There's no point in the fight. It's a great fight, actually. I'm not hating on the fight, but I think my thoughts on it is let's watch and see what happens.
Ryan Garcia said that boxing's turning into WWE.
Yeah,
with that type of matchup.
All of this adds to why fighters like Lopez and others aren't condemning Davis. They see it as him seizing control, deciding how his career ends on his terms. And Jake Paul is only fueling the spectacle. On a recent episode of the Double Coverage podcast, he revealed that there's a massive knockout bonus on the line. If someone knocks the other one out, they're going to get a big bonus, Paul said, refusing to name the amount but teasing that it's significant enough to raise stakes for both.
And they have Jake Paul, Gervonta Davis. That's the state of boxing.
Yeah, that's
right now.
crazy.
Let that sink in.
Jake
that's
Paul,
right
Gervonta Davis is so crazy. 135 versus 200. That is so nuts.
They're all expedition.
None of them are.
That kind of incentive only boosts anticipation. It transforms what might have been a light sparring match into a high-risk, high-reward showdown. For Paul, it's another chance to test himself against a real champion. For Davis, it's a chance to prove that even outside his weight class and even near the end of his run, he's still built different. Paul's record stands at 12-1 with 7 knockouts. And while critics still question the level of his opponents, his win over Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. earlier this year at least established him as more than just a YouTuber playing boxer. Davis, on the other hand, remains undefeated at 30-0 with 28 knockouts, one of the cleanest records in modern boxing.
Is big. Tank has a lot of skill, but I don't think he's the same Tank that we saw the most incredible knockouts. We saw him, Lamont Roach performed great. They went to draw, and, I just don't know. And Tank walked away. I don't know if he loves it enough to beat a guy who outweighs him by 80 to 100 pounds.
Still, the size gap can't be ignored. Paul's fought as heavy as 227 pounds. Davis has never gone above 140. That's nearly a 100-pound swing at times. But again, that's what makes this such a spectacle. It's absurd, but calculated absurdity.
A 92-pound weight difference, almost a 100-pound weight difference. It's insane. Let's say he comes in at 200 pounds. It's still a 65-pound weight advantage. That is called one thing. That's called being a bully. It's like, dude, what are you doing? What don't you understand about this? If you want respect from your peers.
Even commentators like ESPN's Andreas Hale have said that while the fight looks odd on paper, the structure and scale justify its existence. Hale pointed out that it's being treated as an experiment, one that could reshape how exhibition boxing is documented and sold. And with Netflix backing it, the audience reach will be enormous. Share your thoughts on this below and subscribe for more updates.